All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to AIMBOT, show all about FPSs, shooters, third-person shooters. I realized it when the tweet went live. I'm gonna catch heat for labeling Returnal as an FPS. I know it's not. For whatever reason, just in my tweet, I was like, "Yeah, this is an FPS." So, third-person and first-person shooters tonight. Got a couple of announcements before we kick it over to the runners. Frame Fatales, Games Done Quick, all-women online speedrunning community has an upcoming event at Flame Fatales, August 13th to the 20th. I'm actually personally really excited for it. There's a bunch of good runs going on in that, and it's only 12 hours a day, which I think is pretty innovative. I like, marathons that don't run all day, so you have a hard stop and you go, okay, I'm not going to miss anything after this time. I think that's really cool. If you want to check out the schedule, go to gamesdonequick.com/schedule. And if you want to prize, !FF Twitch chat to get that link. And the last day to submit prizes is August 6th. And another very important one is Games Done Quick is hiring. If you have experience in social media creation or you want to help out at some of the live events, go to gamesdonequick.com/jobs to apply. I promise I'm really good at reading these things. So with that said, this is a run that I've seen a few times, and since I'm on the GDQ Games Committee, there's one person on the committee very specifically who loves this run, just talks it up every single opportunity. So without further ado, Cave, take it away with Returnal.
Yo, what's up? I'm Cave. I'm the Returnal guy, I guess. This is going to be my 5th time doing some Returnal related stuff with GDQ, do either hotfixes or the summer or winter shows. Anyways, with me, I have some other Returnal runners. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I am Mel Santiago, also a Returnal speedrunner, and I do glitchless fresh file and glitchless secret ending with some towers sprinkled in the mix.
Yeah, my name is Lunar Hostility. I'm also a Returnal speedrunner. I speedrun the Tower of Sisyphus.
And hi, I'm Pascal Cat. I speedrun the fresh file categories. So I guess, yeah, glitchless and glitched.
Yeah, so with that, just some quick housekeeping before we get into the run and talking about Returnal and, all that stuff. We're just going to quickly start with some of the controls. We switched dash to L1, melee to R1. I think those are the important ones. That's for DMJ. We'll get into that movement later. We turn sprint into always sprint because we don't really need to walk ever. And the minimap distance is spaced out so we can see doors easier. My language RNG is English because I'm too lazy to change it before each run, but it could be important to try different combinations if you're getting into it. And then lastly, for graphics, I have everything on low because my PC can't really handle anything except that. With that, the run is going to start once we get movement. So I'll sort of count us down, and yeah, we'll get started the run. So we can start in 3, 2, 1, start. So this is Returnal. Who wants to talk about what Returnal is?
I'm happy to do it. So Returnal is a 3D action roguelite developed by Housemarque. It's got some really interesting story themes we'll be getting into later, but this run in particular is primarily centered on movement, and there's definitely going to be some action consistent with and there's a good deal of RNG. We'll be getting into that later, but these rooms that the third case going to talk about are actually the same.
Here we have one of our 2 unskippable cutscenes. Completely random, really doesn't impact the story much, but for whatever reason, gotta watch this one. So shout out Housemarque for that.
It used to be skippable too.
Right.
I don't know why they changed it in 3.0, but
yeah, here we go.
I just want to quickly add to the genre. Gotta mention bullet hell as well.
Facts.
Yeah, whenever I have to explain what it is, it's just a mouthful. Sci-fi, psychological horror, third-person bullet hell shooter, and whatever else in there. And it's fascinating.
I would like to apologize to everyone. We already have ruined the no-hit run. I'll do better for everyone next time. The only time I'll apologize for it. What we just did back there in that last room was to skip that L found. It's super quick. We can only really use it in glitchless, but it's pretty cool. That saves a little bit of time.
Piled corpses of a xenotype.
And we love saving time.
And we have another skip coming up, developed by community runner McKeely. Shout out McKeely. So when you fall into that right there, you see the cave restart cycle immediately. We used to have a fight of mini boss there. It was a pretty exciting fight, honestly. I thought. Maybe that's just me.
On the edge of my seat.
Well, no. Cave is very, very good at combat in the game, so he's able to shoot it quite quickly. But now we don't even have to do that anymore. You just restart cycle twice, and you come right back out here.
Yep.
Yeah, I just feel like I just want to also shout out Frosty for having tried to bring that to attention way before me, Kiwi, and for some reason that didn't quite get the attention that it needed. So just a bit ahead of his time there, Frosty.
Definitely wasn't me that said that's a bad idea. Definitely was not me. Anyways, the reason we do that is because we base time for submission based on cycle timer. Here, I'm scanning the carbine as like a marathon safe thing. We really don't use the carbine anymore, and I feel kind of cowardly for scanning it. I should have just sent it, but it's really just a just in case thing, like worst case scenario type beat.
We'll be getting into this later, but this run, what Cave was alluding to, is this strats on this run actually changed quite a bit pretty recently, in terms of like what weapons we use and so on. So you'll be seeing more of it soon, but the carbine has been core to Returnal fresh file, all categories.
Yeah, ideally we're gonna see the carbine 0 more times in this run. But with roguelikes, what can you do? I will never get the genre right. I won't learn it. You can tell me, I feel like I can't, my brain's not capable of remembering.
And just, this is a fun drop we do right here. Because actually taking the orb right there, it costs us time, which we don't like. As you can see, Cave is dashing at really consistent intervals on cooldown there. Soon, and we'll get into it then, but you won't be seeing that anymore. But only in the opening of this run, you do have to dash pretty consistently. It's always going to be.
Alright, so here is the shotgun. Fingers crossed for no wide maw. Unreal. Okay.
That's why we scanned the carbine.
That's why we scanned carbine.
And no, it'll be fine. You'll see another red dog.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm only gonna check the required one. I don't think I'm gonna check other ones.
So his explanation of what we're talking about when scanning the shotgun, there's a set of kind of properties that you can get on it, and we got the bad one. It's okay though, but if we were to have a different one on that, then it really does help the run. So if they were going for world record, that would be a reset right there. This is the house. We'll be coming back to this later for some of the lore stuff, but this is usually a pretty good benchmark for early times. You'll hear people talk about I had this time at the house and so on.
Right. I don't think we actually talked about what the run is we're doing.
Nice segue. That's what I was getting at.
We're doing Fresh File Secret Engine. What that means is we're playing from a brand new save. We have, no traits unlocked, no guns unlocked, none of the movement options, nothing. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the secret ending of the game from this fresh file, and that's the category we're running. I'm going to check our gun here. No shot.
Nice.
Perfect.
Okay, that is perfect. That is perfect. Okay, in contrast to what I was saying before, this is perfect. Additionally, because I'll talk about DMJ in a second, but last time we didn't talk about alt fires. So I did want to use that with horizontal as an opportunity there. So this is the DMJ. This is the core thing of all Returnal speedrunning. It's why Cave remapped his buttons at the beginning. It's dash, melee, and then jump. It allows you to, as you see, it kind of looks like a bunny hop a little bit, but it goes very far, very fast. And much, much later in the run, you're going to see there's actually areas with underwater physics that this gets even more crazy with. But yeah, you're going to be seeing quite a few DMJs in this run.
And
then the alt fires.
Totally clear about why I got excited about the shotgun.
Yes.
We mentioned the traits. You can see on the bottom left above my health bar, it says slug shot there. For the rest of Act 1, the other bosses we found are actually quicker when you use the shotgun, but the shotgun has to have either narrow maw or slug shot as the trait. And that's because wide mod just kind of sucks. It's not like there's not really any other reason. So the fact that we got wide mod there is super sick, or that we got slug shot, and the chances there were even lower because you know we could have gotten a shotgun that had wide mod again, or we could have gotten any combination of carbine / pistol. Anyways, and then horizontal barrage. Oh my god.
Yeah, horizontal barrage is also the ideal alt fire for the first boss, Ricky. So you'll see now Cave is doing what we call the parry strat, where he's using the melee iframes. I think this was developed by McKiwi as well, if I remember. So the game doesn't actually have a built-in parry mechanic, but if you time your melee to get the iframes, you know, right as the enemy's doing their attack, then you can save time by not having to dash away and just keep doing DPS there. And as well, he's holding down the R2 shoot button, so he's also shooting in between each melee swing.
And what's beautiful with it is that it's perfectly timed, even with the what do you call this? Unupgraded blast maul, snap maul. This shotgun thing that we have, so it's really actually pleasing aesthetically when it's done properly.
And for as long as I've been running the game, melee on Freaky has been the strat, but increasingly, and you'll see this with later bosses, melee has become pretty much core to several of the fights now. It's pretty aggressive melee strats, and it just does a lot of damage. So.
Yeah, it's basically, it's just better than most of the damage of the guns that you get straight out of the box. So unless you were to spend time and upgrade the traits, upgrade the guns, you know, then you would move away from melee, but just in a fresh file run, we're definitely leaning on that melee as much as we can for all the bosses.
This could interface with a different kind of translocation device.
We were a little lost in the sauce, but now we're back. That's not the right kind of health. So yeah, that's biome 1. Pretty fun biome. It's a lot less fun once we get to Act 3, in my opinion, but the Act 1 biome 1 is a good time. If you're ever going to skip the weapon proficiency, we'll get into that when we pick it up at the start of biome 3. But we are going to scan the little health vial.
I think this will prove useful.
And now we're in biome 2, which is a nice place to learn how to DMJ if you're learning the run and want to learn the movement.
Strange energy from the mountain summit, ascending towards destination.
We're obviously moving towards the light that you see back there in the center, and there's going to be a climb upwards to the next boss, Ixion. But as Cave said, this really is, I think, where everybody learns how to DMJ, because you're not going to find it.
All right, really important. I need everyone to watch the alt fire very closely, and there will be a question afterwards. So I need everyone to pay attention when we use the alt fire on one of these turrets up here, if any of them aren't shielded. All right, all of them are shielded. Never mind. 1, 2, 3. Everyone, I need you to put in chat what color that alt fire is. This is extremely important.
Your options are blue or green. Make the right choice, chat. Make the right choice.
I know it's probably teal. You need to choose green or blue. It's a yes or no question.
You cannot be Team Cyan here.
Yeah,
there are only two sides.
Yeah, you gotta choose a side. Also, something I sort of forgot and I'm now remembering, we need to get kills here so we can actually get slug shot for the fight.
Yes.
Completely blanked on that for a second. I'm actually gonna slow down a little bit just to make sure we get it. Okay, that's a little annoying.
Yeah, beautiful green horizontal barrage.
That's correct.
Oh,
that's correct. Thank you, chat.
Thank you, chat.
And just to be clear, like you're saying about killing enemies, this is also new with the shotgun strat, because before you didn't kill anything other than the bosses and require many bosses and stuff.
That one's so hard. This is absurd.
Well, given that I wore a shirt live on the GDQ stage that said horizontal barrage is blue, I'm still going with that's the right answer. But yes, we do need.
Just did that as well.
We do need 15 kills to unlock the first tier trait here. Oh, this room, that entrance to this room is the worst.
Kill stuff. I'm not gonna lie. This is Really not good, admittedly. But what are we at? One more just in case.
Not the most optimal room, man.
Normally I'm 100% resetting at this point. You're meant to get those kills a lot quicker and on the way.
Along the way, yeah.
Unfortunately, we just got kind of rough RNG as far as, you know, the enemies and what came up. So, took a lot more damage than I intended. And also, you know, had to work for those kills. Which means we're probably doing lower Ixion as well, so I don't die at a few points. Should be fine though, probably. I would not worry too much.
You're just keeping the tension up.
That's me talking myself up.
You're doing a vial-less Ixion. Let's go.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Encountered airborne fauna.
The reason why we're saying that is this boss does a lot of damage. It just does a lot of damage.
So we used to use the Hollow Seeker for this boss, and it was, in comparison, a much easier fight. You could stay further away. Now with the shotgun, you want, you know, the spread of your projectiles to be as tight as possible. So you want to be as close as possible, which means you're much more likely to take some hits, and it gives you a much narrower margin of health to play with. So I'd say with the current shotgun route, this is actually the hardest fight in the run now. It used to be one of the later bosses, Hyperion, which we'll get to later with the melee strats. But yeah, definitely Ixion's third phase as well is the toughest.
Honestly, I'm just so happy that we're able to incorporate the shotgun into this new strat, because it makes the post-combat much more powerful and much cooler looking as well.
It's very fun. Yeah, it's very fun.
Okay, let's go. So you didn't. Yeah. So that section right there, we call that the auto scroller, when he's kind of putting out those like blue rings. Not those, the one before. You might have blinked and missed it because it was very, very fast, but it's very easy to take damage during that segment. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, with the shotgun, ideally, it is possible to no-hit the Phase 2 auto scroller, but you can't no-hit the Phase 3 one.
Again, they sort of mentioned it. Ideally, you're meant to sit like right under Ixion.
Yeah.
I'm just playing it like super safe and letting the plug shot go to work. Just because bit of a health mishap because I was farming kills. Which, I mean, it happens. I just want to make sure I finish the run.
Yeah, without a vial, you can't be as aggressive.
Yeah. With full aggression, this fight is a lot of fun to watch. You may have also noticed we missed several overloads in a row. Essentially, when you're reloading, if you hit the fire button while it's within that bar, you automatically get your bullets back. It's kind of like the Gears of War.
Active reload.
Yeah, pretty similar to that.
I also think one new factor with the shotgun is that you have to, or it's better if you aim down sights. You get more DPS with it. We haven't really had to do that with any of the other guns. Returnal, you can basically hit fire most of the time.
The only time that we did aim down sight was on Nemesis Carbine in Phase 3, just to make sure that our bullets actually hit when we're that far away. But yeah.
So I was going to ask, because I haven't seen a lot of this game. Is there ammo management in this, or is it just like infinite ammo?
It's cooldown management.
Okay.
Yeah, it's infinite. It's just an active reload.
That's one of the hypest things in this strat right now, man, is that you can actually negate those fireballs with the melee right there. Kind of a blink if you miss it thing, but it's pretty cool. Which occurs to me, we did not mention that the dash in this game has full iframes for quite a few. I think there's a couple of attacks that don't, but this is one of the reasons. It's not just for movement; it's core to all the combat in this game. So really encouraging.
As does Yeah, as does what we're picking up, what Kate picked up right now, the grapple. So your main sources of iframes in the game will be the dash and the grapple. We also use melee iframes, which are of course a shorter window in our speedrun.
Sorry for being quiet. I usually try to like talk to you bosses and all that, but
that was focused. Yeah.
Ixion. I think I did that with one hit or something, which for shotgun chats is pretty nuts. Here we're picking up the weapon proficiency thing. If anyone wants to sort of talk about how weapon proficiency works in this game.
BG. Yeah, so weapon proficiency, your proficiency level determines how many stat points you have, as well as which and how many weapon traits you can get. So, yeah, for a lot of our categories, we'll specifically try to get a lot of proficiency and have those traits unlocked. But in Fresh File, we used to basically not unlock any traits, right? So this is the new shotgun, the Spitmaw route now, where we are trying to get those 15 kills to unlock at least one trait. So it's in casual play, I'd say generally the traits are a lot more important than the stats. But yeah, we do have to sometimes make certain trade-offs, certain decisions here.
Rip Frosty Skip.
Sorry,
we have a community member named Frosty. Shout out Frosty, who came up with a really awesome skip in this game that's been
Nice.
I didn't see the damage. I just know it's a shot. So, actually, fun fact: this will be the first time we do Nemesis with a shotgun in like the 5 times I've shown this game on the channel.
Nice.
So that's pretty sick.
Let's go! Yeah.
Very excited.
Shotgun strats are pretty hype for this boss. It was always the strat for all bosses, right? It's only now that it's
been implemented in
in Fresh File. Yeah. But for people that have done the Nemesis fight, it's going to look a lot different than I think how the game intends you to fight. Which is kind of the deal with speedruns, right? But yes, they patched out Frosty's skip, so rip for that. Here's another small skip that's pretty cool. There you go.
I love this one. Yeah, it's a nice, juicy little one.
That might be a Raptor one. I think that's a Raptor product. Shout out Raptor.
Yeah, shout out Raptor.
That's like guy right there. I remember Raptor was one of the first people that like when I first started speedrunning the game, just like came in to hunt out, and he was playing the game casually. And at one day I was like, hey man, like you should try doing some runs. And he became just like an absolute monster. He has either record or like 2nd place time in a lot of the categories.
Also shout out Larry the Pagan. I see you in chat. Another great member of the Returnal community.
Hi Larry.
Low tower
Hi
here.
Larry.
Shout out Larry.
Low tower, yeah. So there are 2 different layouts we can get for this tower going up to the boss, and I mean, I guess as self-explanatory names go, one is slow and one is fast. So yeah, this one we can't grapple up and kind of shortcut through the rooms.
Yeah, just a sad day we can't see the fast tower skip.
Yeah, so we have fast tower, and I think Elle found a faster way to get up the fast tower, so now we have fast tower as well.
Dave, how much time does fast tower save at this point?
Like 20 seconds?
Yeah, it's not insubstantial.
Not insignificant number.
Yeah.
It's like basically all our PBs have fast tower.
Right.
Now we're about to be at the boss, Nemesis. One thing you are going to see right here is Cave is going to restart, I believe, suspend, cycle, and leave. That's because there's an unfortunate glitch that sort of inconsistent here that can happen with Nemesis, but we, for marathon safety purposes, we're just going to suspend because Pascal found that if you do that for whatever reason, Nemesis doesn't seem to glitch out. Or are we just going to go?
No.
I was wondering.
We are not doing Nemesis glitch on a marathon. That's
I'm just noticing in chat talking about the Discord. I don't know if there's a
on the screen, which is just a base setting in the game, which is super sick. So now we're going into Nemesis.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that we have to reset to be glitch a boss. we agree. Yeah.
So this is Nemesis. Is the game stream up?
Yes, it is. Or it seems to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
So this is that. Sorry for the for the delay. We have to quickly suspend the cycle for this boss, or else we get a really nasty glitch, which essentially just turns the game off. But
yeah, in the second phase, the platforms are supposed to break up, and basically the glitch is that sometimes they don't. So that, especially with a shotgun, it makes it just, it's a run killer. It's way too slow for us.
And nice. Yeah, for the first time ever, we're doing shotgun Nemesis on GDQ. So.
Nice.
Let's go.
So yeah, the Nemesis glitch is essentially, we're gonna see these platforms all break up and move away. When the glitch happens, they don't do that, and it makes Nemesis think that you're like acting like a coward, and that, for example, it thinks we're like on that platform over there, when in reality the platforms just haven't broken up. It gives us just a much slower pattern. The shotgun's further away, so it doesn't do any damage. It's a nightmare. So that's why we waste some time suspending cycle, so that ultimately we don't just like have run through and at this point.
Yeah. So here again, you can see the aim down sights strat, which is basically necessary for this phase. There is kind of a cycle to the attack, so it is possible. I mean, usually, I guess, if you would expect in a good run to single cycle this phase 2. And actually, I have some. I might have some hot new science to drop here.
Oh yeah.
I was testing it out a little, and I think, at least for my attempts, I think you need at least 3 stats into bonus damage to single cycle it.
So this is where it's going to look substantially different. So when we use the carbine, remember that Kate picked up back at the beginning, the thing that was cool about the carbine is in this segment, you're meant to move through these platforms and get up to Nemesis. But with carbine, we used to be able to just sit all the way in the back and just shoot, and it had the range to not have to do that. Now, though, with the shotgun strat, Kate's going to try and get as close as possible and actually fall in front of the boss. It's going to look pretty hype.
Yeah, it is very hype.
Good though.
It's a very hype strat. Unfortunately, it's just now it's another point of RNG praying.
Because essentially,
hoping
we
that
need this part's great. It wasn't great at the beginning, but this is going to work out, I think. Maybe not. I lied.
Yeah, so you have to hope that the platforms line up.
Nice.
Yeah, so ideally you get there up to the front like immediately if the platforms all line up really well, and you just one cycle it before you get shot back there. It was half bad RNG, half just like I missed like 3 DMJs. So I'll take part of the blame for that for sure. We should be good now though.
Nice platform RNG now.
It's always good after the first reset. Hopefully I'm good here.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
A little worried.
Let's go. So as you guys can see, that Nemesis health bar deleted by this strat.
Yes.
But tanking that damage can be a little stressful if you don't. You're running out of health.
I need to take a quick stand up after the last 2 bosses. I feel like I'm having a fever dream right now. That's such a nightmare. Gracious.
So speaking of secret ending, this is a major story cutscene. Actually, if Pascal or Elle wanted to break it down, please, we'll come back later.
Okay. Yeah, go for it, Elle.
Yeah, like.
Just need a mental reset there. That's so absurd.
Yeah.
How those last 2 boss fights win. But yeah, that's shotgun strats. They're faster, but they also. That happens. So
yeah, actually, I just want to quickly say I feel like it didn't really come across necessarily at last GDQ. Like this being a roguelite in fresh file where we're not upgrading our health, not upgrading, getting stat augments and stuff. It is really easy to lose a run. Like what Cave is doing here is really masterful. So take it away, Elle.
That's what they're saying.
Well, the unfortunate thing here is that where the story happens, we do skip it. And I think I'll just expanded that more as we, go into the house scenes. There's just a bit of downtown as we go through it. But, Celine escapes. but turns out she doesn't. And she kind of, laments on her return here after dying of old age. And, she finds herself in this new kind of older world, which, is, you think it might be the future, but it's actually the past. So, just some time travel mind screw going on in here. Psychological horror happening in here.
That is, I think, one of my favorite
psychological horror.
People in chat were asking, they were confused. Is exactly the reason why is it's over. It's a fake out ending there because of what Elle was saying. Is that, and another thing that occurs to me is that you don't actually see a central part of the game is that Celine dies and then comes back. The cave ain't gonna die, so you're not even gonna see that. But the idea is she's trapped in kind of an eternal.
You want to give us a quick lore rundown here?
Yeah, so the lore run is, we don't have enough time because the house scenes contain a lot of information. Usually we take our time, kind of, get scared in the little ambience here, and as you can see, the fire going on in there, and just a bunch of, unless you immerse yourself into it, it's just a lot of blink or miss it. But the house is the first thing that you see, and makes it seem that you're not in an alien planet. There's more going on beneath the surface, literally. And it's a trauma location for Celine, and it talks about really the Returnal. At the end of it is about generational abuse, marital abuse, child abuse. So aside from shooting a lot of aliens, we're also shooting our feels.
Aptly put. There's Yashin out. Everyone say hi.
Hi. It won't let us go.
This guy shows up all over the place. And Kate mentioned this before. It's actually cool that in Secret Ending, you're going to get the astronaut is an object that you can get, and it will sort of give you another life. I believe you come back at half health, right, guys? Don't you come back at half? You come back at half after, so that's going to help with upcoming boss. Just give us a little bit of breathe.
For the astronaut, you come back at 80 health, if I remember correctly.
All right, come back at 80.
Someone asked in chat about if this was the first. So that was the first house. You can do the houses whenever. I believe a new house unlocked after every boss you beat. Is that right?
It's per area, actually.
Per area. Okay.
But you can do all of them in Act 2. You can't do some. There's some of them that you can't do in Biome 1, but you can do all of them in Biome 4.
So, when we mentioned traits earlier, there is one trait besides white.
Oh no!
And I have only done glitch runs for a while, so I totally forgot about this because I only recently picked the glitches back up when preparing for the Secret Ending run. But Pylon Web is miserable. On stream, I have a PowerPoint that I'll do whenever I get Pylon Web, because it's so useless. It stinks.
Yeah, we actually got a question in chat earlier for you that said Widemaw or Pylon Web. What do you prefer?
Someone asked Widemaw or Pylon Web?
Yeah, and one of the comments, I forget that I don't remember which commentator answered, but they just said reset.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so hysterical. I totally missed that.
That was at the beginning of the stream as well. Thank you for the callback.
Yeah, they know good Returnal memes. That's so funny. Widemaw is like the new Pylon Web. Oh, it's
nice.
Okay, so one thing that you do hope for with the RNG is that when you fight these enemies, that they're going to drop better weapons. After we had that entire discussion about Pylon Web, this mini boss happened to bless us with not Pylon Web and with Void Beam, actually. Ooh.
Shout out that enemy.
That's a very good driver.
Had nuts damage too. Like there's a running joke in our community called Cave RNG, and it's for stuff like that. I try to deny it. I try to say Cave RNG isn't, it's all in your minds. You're making it up. My RNG is the same as everyone else's. Sometimes I can't dodge the accusations, and that for sure is one of the moments. Here we have an optional lockdown. So in glitchless, that's unfortunate. In glitchless, we do have these lockdowns that have a chance of coming up, and the hope is, part of the RNG is that we don't get any of these optional lockdowns. Is this the key? I need to remember to try to find one. I have not been looking at all.
Yeah, so we need to get 2 special keys at the end of each path down this biome in order to access the boss door. But Cave is also looking for just a regular key to kind of just set up a permanent unlock that's necessary for the
And I just want to say,
secret ending category.
I've been waiting for this moment. Basically, the reason why we're looking for a key is because there's a key difference between Fresh File and Secret Ending Run, and I just wanted to say that's the key difference.
Legend Santiago.
You're not wrong, Al.
I actually have a question for people that may not have played this game. So you said it's a roguelike. Does that mean the rooms, is it like the same, bank of like 15 rooms that you know, or how do you know where to go, I guess? Is it always just moving straight forward?
So we do know where to go because the path we need to take are indicated by light blue doors on the map. So that's how we generally know, but also, like, let's say there's like 15 rooms in a biome. There's like 30 rooms total, and the biome consists of those rooms stitched together slightly differently each run. With the exception of like the start of biome 1 for Fresh File is usually the same. The start of biome 4 is the same. So there's exceptions like that, but for the most part, it's just rooms are stitched together a little differently.
Yeah, just the order of the room is of the rooms are randomized. So here we're doing one of the most hype bosses ever, Hyperion, and unfortunately, he is a lot easier in the PC version. You'll see he'll throw out some spikes when Selena's in close range to him. And there's a bug where they just do no damage on PC version. They normally knock you back
on the
too.
First phase where he stops doing stuff once you.
Yes.
If you like get him to a certain damage fast enough, he just like won't do damage, which is pretty nice for us.
Yeah, you kind of stun him if you get him down fast enough.
So before the fight's over, because it's going to go quite fast with this strat and the cave playing, this actually has, since we're doing secret ending, quite a bit of narrative relevance. So if you actually listen to the music here, it's a version of Blue Oyster Cult's song Don't Fear the Reaper, which is going to show up later on. It's kind of one of the craziest things that happened in the game. But we'll be talking about that when we get to the house later. But pretty wild narrative moment actually in the game. Pretty powerful. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thread that they have throughout the game. Even throughout this biome, you'll sometimes hear the notes.
Yeah, he is the ambience in biome 4. At the moment he dies, you can't really hear anything at all. It's just eerie silence.
Right. But yeah, really great Lovecraftian vibes with this organ and the attacks coming out of the organ. Really nice boss design.
You may have noticed I died there. So part of the secret ending route is when you do the first house, you actually get the astronaut artifact, and that lets you come back to life after dying. So it's kind of nice that you can pick that up in this specific route. In the regular Fresh File Glitchless route, you don't have that luxury, which makes the fight a little harder, but because of that, you can be a little more reckless in that fight.
So now we're going into Biome 5. This is a major blocker for people when they're doing their casual runs. So if you're struggling with this biome, it's not just you. These enemies hit very, very difficult. They hit very hard. It can be pretty difficult, but unlike some of the other biomes, or all of them, there's not going to be a boss in this one. The actual biome itself is the boss. There's 3 different gauntlets Cave's going to have to go down. One of them is going to be a challenge room where he has to kill all of the enemies in order to be free. And then one has those really annoying drones from the 3rd biome. We skipped them pretty fast, but they do quite a bit of damage. And I forget the other ones. I just skipped it so fast. But yeah, this is pretty tough stuff. It's easy to die here.
Immediate lockdown.
Yeah, immediate lockdown, rip.
So now we're back. I sort of mentioned in Battle 4, but these lockdowns aren't always here. There are lockdowns that aren't optional. This is not one of them, which is a little unfortunate. I'm trying to play it safer rather than faster.
Yeah, and for these lockdowns, there's usually
that's why.
there's usually
everything hits like a truck in this biome.
Yeah, there's usually 1 or 2 enemies that are like the main enemies that if you once you kill them, then the lockdown is released. So Cave was just focusing on that enemy that was spawning in there for that.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Had me held my breath there.
This run has been a run for sure.
So these mini bosses are called the Severed. They're actually, you can see from the orange health bar, means that they're malignant. That means they have malfunctions, which is basically just random debuffs. Some of them are better than others. Fortunately, we didn't get, there's one that nobody really likes called Hostiles Counter on Hit, where every time it takes damage, it shoots bullets out. This was much better. So, boss is beaten. One of the 3 parts of the gauntlet is now down.
Did you leave a vial?
It wasn't a health one.
Okay.
It was like
Probably an Oblite
generator or something.
Yeah. Luckily, I'd say that the clapping lasers are the worst malfunction.
They're pretty bad.
Looking for keys. Gotta look for keys. Almost forgot.
Reason it.
Keys.
Yeah. I think. Oh, you love the lava legs.
Yeah, the lava legs that you attach on your arms.
Nice.
Yeah.
Convenient. Just have to ask a little bit. So,
got a key?
Nicely. Yeah, we just picked one up.
And so to answer that earlier question that you had about how we know where we're going, if you look in the bottom right on the map, sorry if this is already addressed, you can see that there's different colors on the doors when you exit. The ones that are triangles, those are optional rooms. We don't go into those. The ones that are squares there, that are kind of more green or whatever, that means that that's the next room that's going to allow us to continue to progress. There's some different ones that are challenge rooms. Like I said earlier, you do have to go through the experiments required. So we actually kind of mess with the map distance settings for the run, just so that we can make sure, we're just looking at the map all the time, just to make sure we know how to quickly get in and get out.
Yeah, at the very beginning, you might have remembered me mentioning that I moved my mini-map distance out to 80%. It's for that reason. It's really only useful in biomes like 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, they change the entrance and exits to the room. It's not necessarily even the same orientation of the room.
Right.
Yes, what Cole also wrote there in chat. Thank you, Cole. Also didn't mention there was another lockdown there. That's the RNG gods smiling upon us. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, because sometimes there's also a bug where the Severed are those enemies called Severed. They're supposed to teleport, and you'll see that red ribbon kind of trailing you right before they teleport. But there is a lovely bug where sometimes they just go invisible as they're teleporting. So luckily, that's not what happened now.
So this is what we picked up the key for right here. We picked it up so we can pick up this upgrade. This is going to help us in Act 3 a lot. It's going to save a pretty good chunk of time. But now we can walk on the lava. Yeah, I'm going to DMJ into some momentum hops, which is pretty nice, so I don't lose too much speed. Since that's a no dash room, which if you can't dash, you can't DMJ.
And
so here we're coming up with the challenge room. This is going to look a lot like some of the other, there's another mode called Power Sisyphus. It's another category if you're interested in running this game. We have quite a few categories, but basically this is actually going to force us not just to unlock traits, actually have to fight and kill all the enemies in the room. And you see Cave using melee quite a bit. That's because whenever there's a shield, that you cannot shoot through it unless you have a specific action. You have to get very aggressive and up and down this place. Continue. Yeah. I think they added those shields like some number of patches ago, Kid, right? They didn't originally have those shields.
Yes, they added. They did actually. They did originally have them in 1.0, and then they removed them, and then they added them back in 2.0.
What's great about
but also sorry, I was just going to quickly mention also the strat there is, you want to pop their shields. And then with this gun does a lot of damage over time, so you'll see Cave popping the shields and then just getting a couple shots in each enemy and moving on to the next one, and just relying on that dot damage to finish them off.
Yeah, and what I was just gonna say regarding popping the shields, like while it is a bit annoying in the beginning, it does deal a lot of damage when you do pop it. So over time, you do actually save a lot of time when you do pop the shields with melee.
It's been such a bizarre run. I've seen a lot of things in this run that I have not seen in a while or ever.
I just want to randomly, because it's a long run, I want to give a shout out that if you have ever tried the gun in that room that you get after beating that the first time, called the Dreadbound, you think it's maybe not the strongest, would highly recommend that you go scan it and try and level it up some, because that's a major player in quite a few of our categories.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Dreadbound is the most OP gun in video games. It really is.
Disgusting.
It's really,
and speaking of, sorry, someone in chat asked about differences between PC and console, and there aren't really that many, apart from, I mean, console hasn't been updated since 3.0, so PC definitely has a few more patches. One difference is at the start of this biome, Biome 6, there is a small healing vial there. There is not one on the console. There are a few speedrunning things, like we can't do one of our skips, Frosty Skip, on PC. There are a couple of graphical differences, but mostly they're fairly in line.
There's also one where it's kind of random. At the very beginning of the game, when we reset the cycle to skip the one mini-boss, you can actually reset the cycle way earlier on console for some reason. Like, you can reset on console as soon as you walk off the platform, and on PC, you have to wait until you're, like, basically touching the ground. It's very bizarre. And then the biggest one is probably the Hyperion fight, where on PC, the spikes just don't do damage, which is super nice.
Yes, that definitely makes that fight a lot easier.
So this right here, this is a good example. This is a key skip right here. This goes back to what I was saying, DMJ, all the way back in the beginning about the underwater physics here. That is, for a lot of people, that's maybe the hardest single enemy in the game. You didn't see it because Kate was able to skip it by just DMJing all the way over it. There's a mini boss down there that was guarding the ability that he just got, that you saw, where there's these orbs. He's able to shoot them, and then hidden platforms. That ties into something I believe somebody in chat was saying earlier about navigating in Biome 5. You're going to see that in Act 3, when we get the secret ending, kind of enable us to go some places that we weren't before.
Yeah, it's like almost a little bit of a Metroidvania, with allowing you to access certain areas as you get unlocked. But definitely the physics in this biome are really cool.
A lot of fun.
Very fun, yeah. Except that it's all open, right? So if you miss your DMJ, if you fall, you just lose health, right? There's no ground under you.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Case in point.
That wasn't an error. That was just me trying to show everyone. You know, I'm trying to be a good. I'm trying to let the people know.
Now it's time to talk about, and I hope they don't come out, but we might see them, malfunction missiles. If you ever play in this game, you're down here in this biome. Okay, hold on real quick, guys. Just if you don't wake up. Yeah, there's a really tough enemy right there. We hope he doesn't wake up. He never does for the game.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, he's just built different.
Bizarre.
Yeah, but
just don't check my files.
Facts. And there's but they will shoot these arrows. I believe you call them downvote arrows. But we call them malfunction missiles, and they will chase you down from across the map. It'll be wild, like just seeing how far they go. And that, if you're ever trying to speedrun the game, definitely keep an eye out for those. Fortunately, Kate was able to get pretty okay routing, but we do have to be back later, hopefully.
We're coming up on the last boss of the base game, Opion. Fun fact in Glitchless, you may have, if you watched the GDQ run I did, the strat that was found like the night before my run was to skip picking up the key to go through this door. But was also found, and I didn't have enough time to practice, so I couldn't do it, was a way to actually skip this boss entirely, and it's pretty sick. But since this is a glitchless run, we cannot do that.
Shout out Chaddington Duck. That's a member of our community who pretty much invented all of the glitches, obviously. Like Kate was saying, it's a glitchless run, but I do want to give him a shout out. Also, there's free health right here in these. For whatever reason, even though it's Opion's actually, weirdly enough, the easiest boss. in the game?
Yeah. I'd say Ophion is the easiest because, well, first you have to, you know, shoot the silver spheres to reveal the weak points. But since she's got multiple weak points, you can do like damage in parallel, really.
That was a good Ophion phase 2. You can tell because she didn't do the
hand smack.
The animation, yeah.
If you skip that animation, you had a good
fast phase 2.
Which sometimes is bad because it kind of messes up where some of these spawns are on phase 3. But that was actually a disgusting Ophion.
GG. Yeah, I do think Ophion has really interesting attacks. If actually in the 1.0, the silver spheres used to move around, so it was a little bit harder. But yeah, if they didn't have just those multiple weak points, I feel like, or gave it more health, I think it would be a much better fight.
And so a non-secret ending, this would be the end of the run right here. You do the drop down, go to the end, trigger the cutscene, and then it's time. But we've got a whole other leg to it because we are doing a secret ending.
Oopsies. Let's time that a little bit. We'll be back for the car. Don't worry about that.
Because we need a key for a secret ending.
Dude, where's my car type?
Dude, where's my car key?
Where's my car key?
Yeah.
Secret ending is trying to find that.
Gonna skip all the DMC music.
Nice.
Fun fact.
As much as Don't Fear the Reaper is a banger, a little slow to watch the cutscene and credits. So we're going to skip that and go to the house now.
I am destruction.
This next house. What are the steps?
Yeah, I have the document ready.
Okay, thank you.
Shout out for the Google Docs.
Wait. In my head, it's you go upstairs and do like the keyboard, and then you go downstairs and then back upstairs. Okay. You know, no, I practiced. I remember what to do.
So for this part, Cave's going to have to go through. People have been discussing the house sequences there. Cave's going to have to go through basically all the house sequences. I'm correct, right? Right?
Well, the first 5.
The first 5, yeah. In order to unlock the ability to get these items called sun fragments, each biome, which we'll be doing this run, and go back, and then you have to beat the final boss one.
Left on.
As a quick head note, I swear this game's way more beautiful and functional. I just have a garbage PC. If you've never played it, you should 100% try it yourself. And it looks and performs better than what my PC is capable of.
Yeah, I think you have VSync turned off, right?
I don't know. I have everything on low and yeah.
Yeah, as long as it works.
Yeah.
More house content. We're gonna do a few of these.
Yeah, back to back to back. Unfortunately, or fortunately, actually, because it's a pretty good location to take a little bit of a breather. You know, like with the house scenes, you do have interactable.
Okay. Also,
yeah.
Really quick, I had this thought during my live stream when I was practicing this. This house has no bathrooms. There's maybe one. There's maybe a bathroom in this whole house.
Look, when we're in a purely nightmare scenario, we don't have time for basic logistics of life, now do we?
I thought of it the other day. I was like, there's no bathrooms in this house. There's none in there. There's none in the kitchen. There's none in either room.
There's the room across. There's the room across from Helios's room that is always closed. We don't know what's there.
That's what I'm guessing is a bathroom. Like, that's maybe a bathroom.
Independent of the architecture, the questionable architecture of the house, as everyone can see here, this astronaut. If you actually look it up, you find the astronauts all over the place in the game. You can see it in like really weird areas, all sorts of things. It's kind of a central haunting presence. Oh man. Weirdly enough, okay, this is talking about lore stuff here.
What are we grabbing?
Oh, not the book, man.
What is that?
Not the book.
Not the book.
There's a 0% chance that's what the game thought I was going for. So there's a lot of stuff you can interact with in the house. We've outlined the exact minimum steps so that we don't bother like looking at other stuff, which is a shame because the other stuff is all really cool and like super important for the story. Unfortunately, you know, you just don't have to look at all of it. That book is something you absolutely don't have to look at. No clue why it locked me in there. I was interested in the octopus.
You know the reason why you trigger the book? It's because you don't know the lore, and the game's telling you.
I was trying to learn.
I'll tell you basic information on the lore right there.
It's the numbers.
that was a letter telling her she didn't get a job as an astronaut in Astra, which obviously...
It was addressed to dear applicant, so we don't actually know who it was meant for. It's basically later implied that it was for her mom, actually, and that was, kind of what led to more trauma to her mom, taking out all her.
This is a good time to note that we're dealing with quite a bit of subjectivity in the nature of this game. They and when asked about it, I believe the developers have said something. Different interpretations of it. And one of the things, which we'll see later, is there's quite a bit of stuff between Celine and her mother. They don't have the most fantastic of relationships. To reprise, yeah, we'll be seeing this later, but to reprise a prior HotFix secret ending thing, I guess we'll wait till the cutscene to talk about what happens to Celine's mother, but, not the best.
Cave, did you get the... Okay, never mind.
Did you cut out? Did we get it?
No,
never mind. I missed something. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, I'll back to those cycles of familial trauma Elle was mentioning earlier. Definitely a lot of that. Sorry, I don't know if you want to talk more about this house.
Yeah, I was gonna say the third one is so important because usually you do the house scenes before you enter Act 2 at all. And, in there she used the tune for the piano, Don't Fear the Reaper, which you've seen earlier with Hyperion. He was playing that as well. So it kind of ties in that kind of familial relationship. It's kind of assumed that Hyperion is her father. And here we have this EV section that's, duality, kind of confusing. And you can see that, we're having a very nice family time here in the living room. That's our mother in the urn. That's our dad in the piano, kind of, what do you call this? Represented in that. And it just tells you that, as you go and progress in the story, especially with the tower as well, it addresses a lot of questions that's left unanswered in base game. But basically, our mom, Thea, which we hold a lot of resemblance to, was supposed to be an astronaut, and there's a little accident that happens there in that bridge, which led to her being paralyzed and kind of wheelchair bound, and a lot of resentment that she had on Celine, which led to neglect and anger, and which had Celine when she gave birth to Helios. If you subscribe to the theory that Helios is not her brother and is actually her son, again, a lot of subjectivity. We don't really have concrete answers. It's just a lot of lore and kind of assumptions. But that's where the generational piece comes in, and as you go further and further deeply into the basement, even the fact that her mother, who was wheelchair bound, was in the basement, right? And a lot of flashbacks of the house being on fire. Well, onto lighter stuff. I'd make arson jokes, but I think I missed the part there. I will make it later.
Was that the arson bit?
Not yet.
I struggle with the lore. I think the Jacob Geller video, is that his name? That video is fantastic. If there's anyone that hasn't watched his content, it's super sick. And his video specifically is I think is a pretty good entry point to the lore of it all. This bit of the run is definitely different from how the game functions. Part of it's just how we route it because it's faster. Where we're doing all these house sequences back to back to back to back to back. There's 6 total where you are able to do them like throughout the game, really. But because that's slow, to come back here after, however many biomes, we do them like this. So we have 2 more left. This one, there is an interesting, it's more of a joke, really. I don't actually want anyone to go through and do the research, but there's dialogue, and in my head, I can imagine maybe, if you do a certain combination of buttons,
no,
there'd be one that's slower or faster, but we haven't
optimized that scene just yet. We're not that desperate yet. you know.
No one's gonna take the time to do that.
Well, I might, but not anymore.
To answer bumper lifts, that is coming up. And we can talk a little bit about the consistency / inconsistency of it as far as, you know, finding them. Ideally, they do all spawn every time, which the one that's in question mostly about that is Biome 6. That's where a lot of the RNG in this run comes into play, is just where they show up. But we'll get into that when we get there. We're like 2 houses away from that. Yeah, it's wild. Anyways, this is what I was referencing earlier with the dialogue options. I just mashed triangle, but that's just because how my live split set up with my controller. I make like square my pause button and circle like next split because I don't use those. So I can't use them when I'm doing a run. So yeah, I mashed triangle here. We see 0 serial coming out. 3 is one of the numbers. In the right corner, you'll see 836, which are important numbers.
It's even in the radio, like the radio here in the kitchen, as well as the time. There's really time everywhere. And the significance of that is like, it's a lot, but you know, it could be the time of death, or rather the time of accident. It's also the radio station that, you know, Don't Fear the Reaper was playing. When we, you know, when the accident happens again, and again, we don't know which accident it was that we've seen. Was it Celine and Helios? Was it Thea or Celine? Are all of them in the car? We don't really know. We do want to know though.
So as just like a quick time reference, I think my record is a 116, and I made the estimate 130. Coming in, I mentioned as a joke, I could just as easily world record this as I could like go over estimate. We're looking pretty good to get like 120-ish probably for RTA, which is like 117 probably real time. But that's gonna come down to the next bit of stuff. Pascal, you're about to say something? My bad.
I was just going to say, there was some mention in chat about talking over each other, so just want to make sure we try to be careful with that.
We're good. Hey, we're having a little fun. We love this game. We're all passionate.
Also, trigger warning, I guess, for any air here. Anyone's sensitive. A little minor jump scare.
Yeah.
I actually don't like it personally. I'm a bit of a wuss. I usually try to not look at it too much.
And while this scare is gonna be happening, I just want to address what our shirt said about, you know, Helios being abandoned. And it's very prominent, you know, in the very first area, very, like half, like 1/3 in the game, you think, oh, Helios is just the ship. And the more you kind of sink into this story, you know, she literally does abandon Helios to save herself, and it's kind of a recurring theme that for her to escape, she has to abandon Helios for every cycle. That's where the neglect and abuse comes from when someone asks. Yeah.
So we're coming up on our last house sequence here. Well, last for now, and then we gotta go do a little item collection. So, you know, you won't be seeing the same pattern much anymore. Funny enough, we do have a category, 90% New Game Plus, where we do just start at Biome 4. What is going on? Oh no. Anyways. Put me all the way back here. Wild. We start at Biome 4 for just practicality reasons. So I do have just... Oh no! We almost got through this with no lockdowns, which is a shame. Another bit of, you know, sadness that comes with doing Secret Ending is you do have a small chance in Biome 4 to get a lockdown on the way to the house, which just eats up a insane amount of time because we're using like a base pistol, which pistol is a great weapon. Not super great with no traits though.
Yeah, definitely want to upgrade it, but it can be pretty nasty.
So I'm gonna focus more quick stack. Play this thing. Alrighty, hopefully we don't get that. I think we only have like one other chance for that to happen, so fingers crossed. This is our last house before we do our little collection game. Here we do have a little bit of Don't Fear the Reaper, so if anyone's got cowbells on them, feel free to bring them out. Don't know why you'd have cowbells on you.
Someone else is here.
Honestly, just like, I was still pretty spooked when I was playing this, so when I looked up, Celine looks up and there's an astronaut there, I had a little scare in my little heart there. It's like, where's the astronaut?
The astronaut is freaky, objectively, especially when you see it in base gameplay, like off in the distance.
Yeah.
Octo, where did you go?
But in here, more illusion. Oh, yeah, just
I was
more
gonna
illusion
say,
to... Sorry, I'll go first before... Yeah, but more illusion to, you know, who the astronauts are, who they are in, you know, relative to Helios, and kind of the... Like, specifically in this house scene, with all the shadows going on, it kind of casts the light of you're underwater. Either that or the house is burnt down, so you can kind of interpret that however you like. It could always be both. Okay, go ahead, Pascal.
Oh, Octo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right, well, you couldn't see it this time. In the previous house scene, there was like a drawing on the wall right outside Helios's room, which was a lovely little foreshadowing element, I think, for a scene coming right up, right?
Yes. We have skipped like some of the important cutscenes, like after you beat Opion. It's a pretty that cutscene's a little revealing. But you know, we can't get the story and go fast. So you gotta play casually and just watch.
Yeah, this is the fifth cutscene, the fifth house sequence.
Yeah, and if you've noticed on the fourth as well, that Celine kind of put her arms in there and she asks, you know, what are you doing there? Then she gets pulled back. That's kind of the amazing thing with the house scenes, that it can kind of relate to each other, it connects to each other, especially the books that Cave accidentally opened. Whenever you read through it, which again, we don't really have the time to do that, but it alludes to every other house scene or kind of events that happens in the game and the voice log, so I like how that connects lore-wise.
This is what I was referring to. This scene where you see Helios crashing as from Celine's vantage point. And as you get up, you'll see there's like a giant cannon right next to you.
I'm the cause of everything.
Well, I guess you couldn't see it now, but yeah.
We won't see it actually.
Yeah. So it was just the drawing also foreshadowed that, with Celine being, you know, the cause of her own crash. Like she shot down her own ship, Helios, and that also mirrors the end cutscene that we saw, where she crashed the car and caused the death of Helios, her son. Or as some people think of a different character, but I still maintain it is mostly the son.
Yeah.
So now that we're through, those first 5 house sequences, we're in search for the sun. A bit of a double entendre, but
exactly.
We're looking for pieces of the Sunface fragment, or we're looking for Sunface fragment pieces. In Biome 4, it's going to spawn somewhere on the main path, but through an optional door. And it's going to spawn in one of these rooms. That is why we picked up the lava legs. You can technically get across that room and back without dying. Without the lava legs, it's just much slower. So that is why I don't know where I'm going. That's why we prioritized getting the legs. In some of the biomes, where the piece can show up is a little flexible. And in others, it's pretty concrete and super easy. Biome 5 is the best example of one that is like always going to be in the same spot and is super easy and quick to find.
Unless you get a bug and sometimes the sphere doesn't appear there, the sphere that you have to shoot to reveal it.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, Biome 3 is also very consistent. It's always just after you cross the bridge and then you go down in the water. Get it?
Mm-hmm. nice. There's also a really weird bad RNG bit there where you can like get trapped behind icicles and they have to like break. And it's just like it's so obnoxious, and the chance is like not like it's not like a very common thing to happen. So when it does, it's just like one of those things where it's like, really, man? Anyways, that's the Biome 5 fragment. It's always in that room up through the visor platforms. Biome 6 is a bit of a dude. 6 and 1 are probably my least favorite fragments to find. I'm gonna pick up health just in case. But normally it'll be off to the left on like a like separate platform, and you'll know you're in the right spot if you see like one of the orbs that you can shoot. There's also like rooms that normally will key you off that it's the right room. Oopsies.
Yeah, because it's basically on some platforms that get attached to another room, so it's not a room on its own, but it just gets appended, and it doesn't appear on the map until you go to it.
Yeah, and you can see that Cave just went to that one area, and usually we use the chests on the map to kind of decide whether it's there. Like that.
That's not it.
Yeah, that would be one of the spawn locations, but it's not there for this one.
And I believe it will always appear on like the main path as well, which unfortunately does include going all the way down. So good RNG is you get it up top before you have to go this far. This again is like part of how RNG really comes into play in Act 3, as far as, you know, getting lockdowns on the way to the house sequences, Biome 6 fragment piece, Biome 1 fragment piece. So here's hoping it does appear here.
Especially because here in Biome 6, the shop area is kind of a point of no return. Once you pass it, you can't teleport back to the first half of the biome. So you really want to make sure you don't miss it in the first half. I think it's here we go.
Yep. Cool.
I just hope we don't get downvoted.
I think we're good at that point. Alright, so now we're gonna reset cycle, and you may have noticed the game is sort of split up into like 2 halves, and this question comes up a lot in like the Returnal subreddit and just like newcomers, but you can always return to those first 3 biomes whenever by just going in through the ship and through this tube that becomes available once you get to this point. Yeah, I see a lot of chat about the tower. Tower is a lot of fun. The speedruns are also extremely wild. If you want to talk a little bit about tower speedruns, Lunar.
Sure. So SGDQ Cave, for the bonus category, if you want to go back and watch it, did a tower phase 1 run. Those are pretty short, optimally. It's Cave, what was PV for you? Right about 4?
It's like exactly at 4 minutes.
Exactly at 4.
Frustrating.
Right. And then for phase 3, we used the Dreadbound, as I was mentioning before. If you max out the Dreadbound, it just destroys entire rooms of enemies really quickly. So yeah, there was just some discussion in the chat about mouse keyboard versus controller, and kind of specifically with the tower, it does give you quite a bit of advantage in terms of aiming. It's going to be far more of a combat heavy sort of situation. But in that one, kind of like in the challenge rooms that Ted had to do in Biome 5, you do have to kill all of the enemies on every floor in order to be able to pick it. So it's just an example of there's a lot of different ways to speedrun this game. There's a lot of different categories. We would love,
definitely.
We would love to have folks join. I can guarantee you there's going to be a category for you that matches your play style.
Now that we're talking about it, I think I still need to plan it out. Earlier we did do I have never gotten this lockdown. That's insane. We did a any percent New Game Plus race, a community race where everyone had 1 hour to try to give their best time possible. I think either next month or maybe later this month, we're going to do the same with Tower Phase 1. So if you know, that's something you think you might be interested in, make sure you join our Discord. It should be a pretty fun time. The last one was a lot of fun. I think Raptor participated, which Raptor I think actually set like a bunch of PBs, which was insane. I want to say Raptor set PBs and was going like under 4 minutes, which is like a really good time for.
He had multiple sub 4s, yeah.
Yeah, Raptor was on one that run for sure. Which in like an hour time frame, like pulling multiple sub 4-minute runs is just nutty. Because it really is just like, once you like get good enough at like DMJs and learning the rooms, it really does just become a hit your head into the wall until you get the right RNG type of deal. Here we're looking for this room. Again, this is why we also got lava. It should be.
No, it's a closed lava room.
I think last time I did it, yeah, it was here.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking of the other lava room.
So there's two. You get one or the other.
Yeah.
Here I'm doing momentum jumps to get across that no dash zone. Not worrying about damage because ideally I don't get shot in the back here. Oh my gosh. I think I saw like a glimpse. A little worried. I'm gonna actually kill these parrots, I think.
There should be a full heal above as well, but you can just...
We're fine. Not worried. Alright, now we got one more piece, and this last piece is another one of the ones that's like always in the same spot. So we're really just hoping for the right RNG. Gonna do a little hiding. Ooh, where am I? I got stuck. Alright, here's our last piece coming up, and then we're done with our little scavenger hunt. And we can go do the last house, and then kill Ophion one last time.
Yeah, I guess I can just add to the controller versus mouse. So I also just play on controller, and I'd say for the tower, like most of us turn up our sensitivity to the max for your X and Y turn speed, which is 200%. So it definitely feels like that's kind of the only place where you really need it. I know someone actually that used to play on PS5 and now on PC plays with the controller in his left hand and then mouse in his right. So, you know, whatever works for you.
Yeah, shout out Vin. That dude's wild. He's a tower high score player. He's nuts at the tower high score stuff. But yeah, I mean, on top of that, I use controller. That's just because I started playing on PS5 and just sort of the DMJs are ingrained in me. I believe common consensus for DMJs on mouse and keyboard is Shift, F, and one of the mouse buttons. But yeah, you know, that's why I did. So I couldn't get used to DMJs on mouse and keyboard. But I do think it's probably better if you use mouse and keyboard, ideally. Anyways, that's all the fragments. So now we're gonna go back through the ship so that we can go to the house. It's like a really funny routing thing, because technically the house is in biomes 1 and 4. And I guess if you were willing to grind the category out and go for boom bust, you would probably try to do the houses in biome 1, because you can get the house as like your first room. The issue is sometimes you can get the house as like your last room. Whereas in biome 4, it's always like consistently like the 5th or 6th, something like that.
There are some of the house sequences you can't do in biome 1, but yes, for the rest, yeah.
Yeah, it's only one
like the very last one that we did. Well, so the one where it goes all meta. Which one was that? The fourth, yeah. So both the 4th and the 5th have to be in biome 4, because at the start of the 4th one, right, you see yourself in the TV screen, and then at the end of the 5th one, you see her shooting on the ship.
Oh, never realized that. That's funny. Yeah, I don't do a good job with all the. I just play game fast. Is my issue. I shoot and play game fast.
I regret what happened.
This is the shortest house of them all. You just sort of go down to the basement. This is where some of the darker stuff again kind of comes up.
So I hate,
He's bitter.
yeah, I hate to break it to you guys. Spoiler, obviously we spoiled everything, but inconsistent with the tower lore, this is her mother, and the reason she's down here is to burn the house down with her mother in it. Uh-oh. So that's about the degree of weight that you're going to be dealing with in the lore in the game. Not necessary. Again, it's not necessary to engage with, but it's actually quite moving. Pretty disturbing.
100%.
This gets into, you know, just the degree of thematic heaviness we're dealing with in the game. It's very well done.
Yeah, they really expanded on that whole fire lore as well in the Tower Sisyphus hospital sequences as well. I think they did a really great job with that. I'm sure Luna agrees.
Yeah, time of admittance, I've never actually done the tower story stuff. That's the next category I need to learn. Which, even though you don't really do the story though, like I think for most of the like hospital stuff, you like walk through the doors and then walk right back out for the speedrun. But yeah. Now we finished all the house sequences. We've gathered the Sunface fragments, and we're gonna go fight Ophion one last time. Now that we have the car keys in hand. Ideally, in Biome 6, we're gonna look for a driver, because that's our best weapon for Ophion currently. If you ever watch like speedruns of the New Game Plus categories, you can see some Dreadbound Ophions, which are really hysterical. You're basically deleting phases like in seconds.
I recall what she said. That woman who uses my voice isn't me.
And yeah, this is definitely a very spoiler-full run. This is basically our story category, I guess. And I remember Elle brought it up earlier, and then we started talking about other things. So I just want to quickly say, because I don't know if I'll have the chance to again, but one of my favorite points was how you think at first that when you go into Act 2, the timeline is she's way in the future, but she's actually going back in time. And they kind of mislead you with that at first. And I think that's because she's remembering more of what happened with her in Helios, right? As you progress through the game, the biomes and the story. And so I think she's going backwards in time because remembering is an act of going into the past. So I think, honestly, the game has a lot of symbolism, a lot of metaphor, a lot of like really deep lore you can get into if you want to engage with it or not. So if you're the kind of person that likes that kind of like literature that's got more open-ended type of stuff, you'll probably love it.
Fact. Open for a driver here. That's really cringe. I guess I'll see what pistol's better. Oh, brother. it's a pistol Ophion to end the run.
Oh no.
We'll definitely end on an estimate though, so shout out to that. It is just gonna be a painful boss fight.
Yeah, so now
go ahead.
we're talking in chat. We're talking in chat as well about Ophion's face turning into Thea or possibly Selene. I think there was intentionally kind of a parallel there between Thea and Selene, just being very close together as characters. But I also do like the parallel of Hyperion, the previous boss, representing her father, and then this boss representing her mother. I think those are nice bookends.
The answer is beneath you. Give it to me.
I'm gonna focus a little bit for.
Absolutely, you gotta focus on doing trigger fingers there, and really, AIMBOT, right? AIMBOT category.
Oh, is it down in?
It cut off. It cut out for me for a second, and now I'm back in Discord. I don't know if it's.
Oh, is it down?
Hey, can you pause?
Yeah, maybe? I'm paused. I'm paused. Oh no. Oh, I'm going.
You're going.
It's we're live.
Yeah, no, I like I said right at the beginning, there's someone on the games committee, Brian Otto, is like hyper up on this game. Yeah, he's always like, this is the sickest. This is like one of the sickest runs he's ever seen. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, shut up, Brian Otto. Legend control runner, man. Mini games, Titanfall and Control.
Love the Titanfall.
Yeah, Titanfall. There was discussion and chat about Control, and there's a lot of similarities, I think. If you like running that game or watching runs of that game, you should definitely.
Yeah, I've seen he's into the viewfinder speedruns lately. You guys like that?
Oh, this is so miserable. I cannot tell you the last time I've done a pistol Ophion.
This is basically a challenge run at this point.
It feels like it.
Oh,
My
nice dodge.
Hand's gonna fall off. Also, everyone make sure you stick around for the Trepang 2 run after this with Blood Thunder and Meta on commentary. Also, it should be a banger. That game looks insane. Oh, please don't disappear. I don't know where that point went. It's the other like obnoxious part doing this with pistol is with driver you can kind of hit points and forget about it. This you actually have to play the game, which kind of cringe. I don't want to actually play Returnal. I want to experience it. Oh brother.
You don't want to play Returnal. You want to end it.
And I think that was one of the only thing I disagree with Jacob's video about Returnal at the very end, where I think you actually do find release.
Oh no, this part. Please kill that. Okay, we killed that one. We're good. We killed the annoying points. Now we just got these two left. No clue how to actually dodge this attack without getting hit. So.
This is one of my favorite attacks. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I know we missed a lot of bullet hell elements because we're kind of beating bosses quick and using melee a lot. But the bullet hell elements are like really beautiful. And this game is a fantastic casual play if you haven't done it already. Okay.
Congratulations.
Holy cow. This was certainly a run. We got a lot of, close boss fights, weird interactions, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with any other group of people. So yeah. Now we're going to use the car keys that we received at the end of that last house sequence, and we're going to end at the car. So time's going to end once we get the black screen. We do have a bit of a lineup here where we fall. That sort of lines us up. And time. Alrighty.
And
holy
do a bit
cow.
of a momentum. Who's doing that like half DMJ, which is the dash melee to get a little bit of more forward momentum there. I think that was the McKiwi drop.
Yeah, McKiwi did that lineup. So yeah, that's Returnal Secret Engine. If you like that, I do the non-secret engine runs, just the regular ones on my stream usually. L, Lunar, and Pascal also do a little Returnal, a little bit of other stuff on their streams. Appreciate HotFix having us around. If you feel like trying out one of these runs, feel free to join our Discord. You can find it on the SOC page, or DM me. I'll also give it to you there. We have a lot of different types of runs. We have ones where you kill a lot of enemies, ones where you skip most of them, ones that are 4 minutes, ones that are like an hour and a half.
Or platinum.
So my ideal goal is I do find release, which is the tower story one, and then I do the all endings one, which is this plus tower, and then I want to do a platinum run, and then that's it, putting it down.
Then you retire.
Then I feel like I've done what I need to. But yeah, if you feel like learning the run, we got a lot of resources on our Discord. We could help you out. We got a lot of people in that will willing to answer questions. Anything to add, L, Lunar, Pascal?
Yeah. So just shout out to the community. We honestly have such a supportive speedrunning community. If there are any questions that we missed, you can also join the Discord and ask away there. And shout out to GDQ for having us back. We love you guys. Love being here. As always, yeah.
Shout out to chat. Less than 3. It's a heart. Okay. Have a cute day.
Yeah. Thank y'all for coming on.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Appreciate it.
All right, and we're gonna go to a quick break. We'll be right back with Blood Thunder and Meta doing Trepang 2. So stick around. Welcome back to AIMBOT, everybody. A couple quick announcements before we get into the next run. If you missed the Returnal run right before this, or if this is the last run you're going to be able to watch tonight, remember we put all of our VODs up on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, bits, all that good stuff on the GDQ Twitch channel help support HotFix and Games Done Quick in general. So please consider subscribing if you like these daily shows and you like what we do here. So I will admit I have watched a part of this run, but not all of it. And mainly I've seen BT posting about this like nonstop for the past 2 weeks or so. So I think this run is pretty sick, and here to show it off, Blood Thunder with Trepang 2. Take it away.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Trepang 2. There is not a Trepang 1. That's a most frequently asked question we get about this game. There's not a Trepang 1. This is just an internal dev name that they had, and it kind of just stuck around. So if you've never seen this game, it came out about like 6 to 8 weeks ago. Pretty new. It's kind of a spiritual successor to the Fear franchise, those old games. It pains me to say that they're that old, but sadly they are. You take that formula they built, inject it with a little bit of Doom DNA, and you get this. We got some pretty sick movement, and to help me out on commentary as I go through some of these crazy out of bounds, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Meta. I ran Trepang near the start of the, near the launch. I'm also a movement and FPS runner, and yeah, this game is super sick. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so we're gonna start a brand new game. We're gonna run on easy, and then once we get past this little loading screen, time will start. So in 3, 2, 1, we'll start. Immediately, we're gonna skip this cutscene. This game allows you to skip pretty much all cutscenes, not every single one. There is a little bit of downtime here and there, but we play as Subject 106, a super soldier created by the Syndicate. Everything in this game is based around the Syndicate and their super soldier program, and a company known as Horizon, which was founded by a previous super soldier. We are currently restrained. We are getting out of our little jail cell. We're going to run through this. There's not much we can really do at the beginning of the game. For the first minute and a half, you kind of get a whole lot of tutorials, learning how to crouch, how to go stealth, run past some guys, and you can hear some music kick in, which is by far the best part of the game. The music is fantastic in this game.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh my god, I'm gonna try and remember his name. Brandon Keegan did the soundtrack for this game completely by himself. Super good.
Yeah.
Like there's like 40 tracks or something like that. Like it is phenomenal.
Yeah, if you're a fan of like really awesome metal music, you can buy the soundtrack on Steam or just find it through whatever means they have it available. I don't know if they have like SoundCloud or Spotify or something,
but
Bandcamp. There you go. I definitely support it because it is so great. Coming up here, we're about to unlock our restraints and get our weapon back, and we get access to our movement. And oh boy, is it so much fun to move around in this game.
Yeah, it's sick. Also, a fun fact, Trepang is... it's so ridiculous. There's kind of like a Trepang 1, but it's like some unrelated like game jam game, and Trepang translates to sea cucumber or something like that. Like it's just the most random thing ever, and it means like nothing.
So right there is our first jump kick. You're going to see that a whole lot in this game. If you do a sprint jump or have any sort of momentum when you double kick the ground or a wall, you will go and transfer all your momentum in the opposite direction. So if you look straight into the ground when you do that, you'll go flying up into the air. If you kick a wall, you go horizontally back, and we're just going to use our stamina, which is the white bar at the bottom of the screen, to do a whole bunch of like slide jumping and kicking. And we need
stamina management is like one of the bigger things in a new game category or a new game run. We also have New Game Plus, in where there's cheats mode where you can get like infinite stamina. But in new game with no cheats, you really need to focus on stamina management. And one of the ways that you can actually do that is by killing an enemy every once in a while. You'll notice that the stamina bar at the bottom will go yellow, and that means you can consume your stamina infinitely during that time.
Yeah, so there's two different ways that we kind of want to move around when we have stamina. We can do a slide into a jump, which is kind of the fastest way to go around. If we can't really jump, we don't have the vertical clearance, we're going through tight corridors, we can slide and cancel the slide so we don't start losing speed. And some other fun stuff we get to do as well. So when you use up all your stamina, you don't have that yellow bar. you can't do any more fun movement tech, but what you can do is use the focus, which is the ability to go in and out of slow-mo. And whenever you hit focus and come out of it, you get a little bit of stamina back just automatically. So you can burn focus for extra stamina, so you can just kind of have it indefinitely. That is Super Soldier 105. He was supposed to have kind of freed us from our restraints. And we're going to encounter a lot of the other super soldiers. Like, so we're 106, so there's 105 other ones out there. We're not going to see all of them, but we're going to see a good handful of them. Typically, we don't need to kill enemies to progress the game. A lot of times we can just run past them, but that is one of the fight sequences we need to clear out. We also picked up a shotgun along the way. Shotgun is really powerful and easy. Basically one-shots all of these guys. We're going to take one of these guys and attach a grenade to him to hopefully clear out this next section.
Oh, nice. That's a good strat.
Oh, a little too late.
I'm going to steal that.
So one thing you'll also see me doing a lot is sliding into enemies. That will launch them up into the air. So if they're just in my way, I don't need to kill them. That will kind of throw them outside the way. But if they have a shield or something, slide into them. It makes it much easier to shoot them in the back. So here I'm going to start taking out some enemies. There are different ways that the game will check for autosaves. And one of those is based on how many enemies are within a certain spot when you run through a trigger. We may not get it here. And there's one in this next hallway right before our first big out of bounds that I'd like to get, just because it makes things a little bit nicer. And it checks to see how many enemies are back in that hallway. So we kill off a couple extra.
Oh, so you found a way to consistently get that checkpoint?
Yes, I'm not exactly sure on the amount, so we didn't get it there. I need to kill one more, probably. That's fine. We'll just get the out of bounds first try.
Yeah, easy, no problem. Yeah, this skip here is called Sierra Skip, and even though it's at the start of the game, it's definitely one of the more tricky ones. I'm watching with a bit of delay here, but
didn't get the mantle.
This is... Oh, damn.
Yeah, so this autosave is a little bit further back than I'd like, but hey, it's fine. We can kill off more enemies this time around.
All good. Second try, second try.
Yeah, this is definitely like one of the first pain points in learning the run. If you go for the out of bounds,
yeah, it skips the entire last fight completely, which is somewhere between like a minute and a half, I think.
Okay, we should get the autosave this time around, hopefully. It just kind of gets us a closer checkpoint. So for this out of bounds to work, we basically need to like start the fight in this area and then get back over trigger without hitting it, so we can keep the door open. So there's the autosave. Because normally this door is going to lock behind you, keep you in the arena. We're just like unloading the previous hallway, and then...
So we're jumping over the trigger that locks the door so that it doesn't happen, but hitting the next trigger, which deloads the previous area, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Reason I can't.
This skip is really unique as well, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, BT, but there's no other skip in the game where you can like get inbounds from like a one-way wall, which is common in other speed games, but in pretty much every area of this game, every wall has like collision on both sides of it, except for like this one wall here.
Yeah, it's actually something I hadn't thought about, but yeah, all of our other out of bounds, we're going to like climb back in a just random hole in collision and not just through a textured wall. But that's the first level. That's Site 14. The people picking up us up here are the Syndicate. They're going to take us back to the safe house, which is kind of the hub between worlds where you can do a whole bunch of fun stuff. You can customize your character, and you can replay levels if that's your thing. The little logo screen here is it just takes forever to fade out, but that's the first of 5 major missions that we're going to go through. Luckily, we can skip this cutscene. In the safe house, we also don't have access to focus or cloaks. So we can't do those fun like recharges on the stamina bar. Makes it a little bit slower, but gonna customize our appearance. That all carries over between run. So you're going to see that my character's clothing have changed to this nice red shoes that I like. Makes things easy to see.
And red.
Yeah.
I dig it. A fun thing in the community as well is that we allow custom skins, so you can load in like modded skins and stuff like that. Not that that affects the speedrun at all, otherwise it wouldn't be allowed, but it's just pretty fun.
Yeah. There's also some pretty crazy skins you can unlock in the base game too.
Yeah, there's like a pizza one, and there's some pretty ridiculous ones.
So, in typical Fear fashion, you know, we start a level in a helicopter. A fun little thing about this helicopter is you can melee, you can hit your melee key, and you can see your shadow do the actual melee half the time, and you can see your screen jiggle, but your player model's not actually performing the animation. I don't know why they restrict that, but that's the thing you can do.
So at the start of the level here, we're going to do a skip called Extended Mortar Skip. We used to have a earlier version of it just called Mortar Skip, because the devs put a little sticky note on a roof where we could get out of bounds with Mortar, who is a runner in the community. His name was on it. And then, yeah, we ended up finding that you could just go right through this skylight here and extend the skip by an extra, I don't know, 45 seconds or so. It's really nice. Nice. This out of bounds movement is so clean.
And now we've pretty much loaded in the next part we need to get to. We just have to get our way back in bounds. So we're going to jump through this door. And first try, let's go.
Nice, good job. Yeah, a lot of the skips in this game are actually really interesting because you have to... the routing process was really interesting as well, because we had to find which triggers did what loads in what spawns what, and we have to hit all of those triggers from out of bounds or some other way in order to make sure that these skips work. It was a really interesting process. And big shout-outs to Mortar and some of the other people in the community who... you know, found a lot of these skips.
Yeah, so this is a spot where we have to take out like different waves of enemies, and we have to kill all of these enemies for the game to actually progress. Unfortunately, but luckily for the next two, we can kind of throw nades to do some crowd control. And typically, you don't really want to fight in slow-mo because you know everything's gonna be slower. You're gonna waste time, but it makes it really nice to slow down time and hit an enemy with a nade, which blows it up instantly instead of just having it hit the ground.
Oh my god. Absolutely just demolishing this wave.
Okay, music's on, so that's the end of the fight. And now this breach charge will like drop in a random spot over here. I don't know why. It's always different, but it tends to be.
Yeah, it will also move on you sometimes. It feels just like a little gotcha moment. It's like, are you kidding me, really?
Yeah, if you don't start picking up immediately, like you get halfway through the pickup animation and it just moves. It's like, okay, well, it's fine.
And speaking of extended skips, we now have Super Moth Skip. And you may be, well, that's a little bit different. That's because we had originally Moth Skip, then Extended Moth Skip, and now this is an even further extended version, and we decided to call that Super Moth Skip. Moth Skip is a really interesting name that I came up with because the elevator that we skip, one of the voice lines is 106, Man of the Hour, which is obviously MOTH. But also the boss in this level is, spoiler, Mothman. So it was just a really happy coincidence and a super cool skip.
So I'm going like really far out of my way to not trigger enemies in this cafeteria area because that should guarantee that I get an autosave on the next part. Once again, I don't really need it, but it just kind of makes things nice if you get an extra autosave. So we can go for this crazy jump over the void. All of this gray stuff is over the void, so if I fall into it, that means I need to reload the autosave or, you know, die and it's going to do it for me.
Oh, wow.
Getting a little risky. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy things that you get to do in this game, and having those autosaves definitely makes it a little bit less worrisome to pull off.
Yeah, this area we're in here was the latest addition to the moth skip. Skips a cutscene and like a bunch of movement and stuff. Really nice. Or 2 cutscenes maybe.
Yeah, I think it's 2. Because you have the door opening cutscene and you have like the dead body one. So through here, you're going to see a lot of me running out of stamina. So I'm going to go in and out of focus real quick. And then I get that right back. Just kind of speed things up. And now we have a very loud section of the game. Fair warning, I don't know why this part is so loud, but the enemies start screaming and we need to throw them into these 4 generators. And the best way to do that is to slide into them and grab them.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm seeing people talking about the tricks and stuff. If you are a big Skip fan, the New Game Unrestricted category, or New Game Plus even, is definitely for you. We also have categories. We have restricted categories that focus more on the combat, which is also really nice in this game. So there's something for everybody.
Yeah, and this is Mothman we're running away from. And just to touch on, like, if you want to learn this game at all, just a couple hours ago, I did release a full any % tutorial for this game. So if you want to learn these tricks, I put up a 2.5 hour video that goes over all the details and some alternate routes if you don't want to do the hardest things in the game. So if that's something for you, just check it out, youtube.com/bloodthunder. It's the latest video.
Legend. Shoutouts to you and everyone else who makes tutorials and resources for speedrunning communities.
So we're going to do a fun little way to avoid Mothman here. We don't really need to fight him. You can't actually fight him. It's a survival thing. So we're just going to have him run straight into the door. And he's going to hide in the corner. But if we stand right in front of the elevator, when it opens up, it's going to warp us inside. And another little optimization you can do is based on how you're standing when it pulls you into the elevator, determines how you leave. So we're just going to stare off into the corner, and that's going to put us right where we need to go. One thing before we get into the Mothman fight at the top is for the shotgun, while it one-shots regular enemies, regardless of how many shells it has loaded, up to 8, if you have 2 or less shotgun shells, you do more damage. So when we go to fight Mothman, we want to have 2 shotgun shells, because that's going to allow us to do a quick kill on him, as long as we can hit his weak point. But there's some friendly Syndicate NPCs that, for whatever reason, killing them actually speeds up things instead of just not dealing with them.
106, can you hear me? Come in.
So Mothman's actually subject 97, I believe. I went and looked this up a while ago, but I kind of forget exactly. He's in the I-90s, but he's just another one of the super soldier program experiments.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of some subtle and some not so subtle hints to like urban legends. There's one that I'm particularly excited about later that I won't spoil. And in particular, like the SCP Foundation, you'll see some similarities to that kind of thing as well, which I just absolutely love. The story's not like the focus of this game, but it's still pretty interesting.
So I can skip this cutscene, and then I have 2 shotgun shells. Hopefully just 2-shot this guy. There we go. Skip the cutscene. That's the boss done for the level. And now we gotta wait around for the helicopter.
That was so... You could just 2-shot him?
Yep, you just 2-shot him with the shotgun and you're done, yeah. I didn't know that for the longest time. And then a member of the community, I'm blanking on the name, I'm so sorry. It's like, hey, why don't you use the low shotgun damage? I'm like, I don't know what that is. But yeah, you can stand up on the helicopter. It doesn't kill you at all. Just have to kind of wait around. What you'll see me do a lot, and if you learn this game, like a good way to practice your jump kicks, is just anytime there's downtime, you just start jump kicking around and you build it up second nature real fast. So that's our second of 5 levels. Going back to the safe house. This one's a little bit different because we get to go explore the basement.
I have to show you something.
We actually have some cool strats and stuff.
Yeah. One thing you do not want to do when you're in the basement is start shooting, because that will blow up the bomb that they have down here, and that's no good. But there's a magic corner. you can just jump into it and it warps you back to the middle of the elevator. Yeah, in my casual playthrough, they took me down here and then I started shooting at the giant bomb and it blew up and killed me. So I was like, you know, I should just not do that.
I learned.
This is a thermonuclear warhead. We can't risk this facility falling into enemy hands. In the event it's overrun by
So you do have to wait for the dialogue. You can't leave just yet. But once she says, the more you know, or now you know, you can run in. And that will be our cue to go on. That's really the only difference.
So nice.
Yeah, once you get the hang of jump kicks, it does kind of take a while to get down, but once they're kind of second nature, they're so much fun to do, and they look cool as well.
Yeah, I think the first big hump to get over when you're learning kick boosts is understanding the difference between like a single kick and a double kick, or a drop kick, which is a double-legged kick. There's a lot of different, or not a lot, there's a few different variations, and they are important to know the difference between.
Yeah, that sounds very like overwhelming to like, oh, I want to learn this game, but the kick boost sound like something I'm thinking I have to stress over. I cover all those things in the tutorial I posted, so got you covered on that front as well. It's been like 20 minutes in the first level of the game just talking about it. And now we're going into the Jorvik Castle level. This is like a big fighting segment of the game. You go through a courtyard, you fight a mini-boss, or you're supposed to fight a mini-boss. You go through the courtyard again, fight a different mini-boss, go through the courtyard a third time, and then you fight the big boss of this level, the Patriarch, who is, yet again, another subject, I think, in the low 90s. So he's been around for a little bit.
This is also the first level where we have a kind of like a Holy Grail skip, which has been found, but is ridiculous. It's been dubbed Patriarch Skip, and obviously lets you skip the final fight completely, but it is utterly ridiculous. Nobody even does it in IL runs right now, as far as I know.
Yeah, there's some really insane tricks that the community's put together and found, and some of them IL runners have done, like Site 83, which we'll get to later. This Patriarch Skip here, it's just insane where this run could potentially go. But I need to wait for these enemies to actually come out of these little hidey holes that they have, because I can't go through these gates. So if they just stay back there and try to hide from me, there's no way for me to kill them. And we need to kill all these guys to proceed. So this is just a lot of knowing where enemies spawn and being able to take care of them. If an enemy gets away from you, which they can very often do if they just happen to run to the side or something, the snipers will tend to either take care of them or at least point you in the right direction. You can follow their lasers and be like, oh, the enemy's over in that direction. Waiting for a helicopter to come deliver some presents, but that's the first courtyard fight. Deal with the first mini-boss in kind of a different way than you may be thinking.
Expected suit deployed. We'll keep this courtyard secure.
But you might also be seeing this little part again, because I'm going to go for a strat on this skip that I've never done and I run before, but I've been practicing and I want to go for it. So
interesting. Yeah, so this skip is called Enforcer Skip, and I'm sure you can guess what it does.
Kicking off of this light out of bounds is definitely the hardest part of the skip entirely, but got it there.
Nice.
Ooh, almost fell. Okay. So we need to hit a trigger over here to load in the next part against this wall. And let's see if I can get this. Ooh, a little bit short. All right, we'll do the other way.
Oh, okay. I see that. That's the one that saves like 15 seconds or something, right?
Yeah, it's what I've been calling the Jorvik double kick. You have to do 2 kicks against the wall over the void and grab onto that and do some very tricky jumps back up top, but you know, we got some time to play with.
It's interesting that you point that out, like the double kick there, because it's a great example. Patriarch Skip does, I think, a triple or quadruple kick alongside of a wall, out of bounds, over a void, after doing a bunch of other crazy out of bounds stuff. So yeah, this game is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of a preview of like how crazy the skips can be. You can actually chain those together. You can't chain kicks together to like gain momentum like just through hallways. You're not going to be like ABHing or bunny hopping through this stuff. But
oh my god, can you imagine?
Sadly, there's no autosave on this one. There is one like further down the hallway if we keep going, but it's like just as slow to get that as the just reload. All right, let's go do this the way I know how.
And so yeah, once again, if you weren't here earlier in the run, this out of bounds or this skip relies heavily on hitting a lot of triggers that just happen to be sticking out of bounds, because we do still need to hit certain triggers to spawn things in and to make sure that we don't soft lock later in the level. But we're just, we're hitting them from out of bounds instead because they happen to stick out a little bit. And that's the only reason why this skip works and many of the other skips.
Yeah, so the skip I was trying to do is get you up to here a little bit faster. Nothing crazy. We still got to do a pretty big skip. They're just rubbing against walls because a lot of times the triggers just barely stick through the wall. That allows us to hit it and then leave. So we kind of like spawn in the whole enforcer area and then we just run away in traditional speedrunning fashion.
The game doesn't actually check if you have killed the enforcer. There's just other triggers that are required. So we can skip that fight entirely. And enforcer skip saves, oh god, I don't know, like a few minutes anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we're just going right back out the way we came in, back to the courtyard for fight 2. I really like my route through here with the bolt gun. It's something I recently put into the run and the route. I'm a big fan of dealing with the enemies with the bolt gun here. So we have to kill off enough enemies to spawn in the helicopter. And with the bolt gun, you can just shoot like 3 explosives into the bottom of this thing, and as enemies pop out of it, they tend to blow up.
I am making a note to use this gun more often.
Yeah, so like a lot of the community focused on like finding all the big skips, and I was kind of late to that party, but I've come along and kind of helped out with the combat and like picking up certain things routing wise where I could. So now we're going to swap to having the shotgun and the grenade launcher. Combat it's pretty easy when you're just throwing grenades and big explosives against big groups of enemies, take them out quickly, and then the shotgun with low ammo can take out bosses. But there's some other fun stuff we get to do later on. So past the second courtyard, we need to go do the second mini boss area. This is the flesh golems. He's kind of spooky, but not too bad. We do have some more fighting to do before we actually get to him, though.
We got confirmation that Dr. Kramer is KIA. Our top priority now is recovering his research. Do what you can and pull out.
So honestly, in terms of lore, I don't really remember what Dr. Kramer was doing. He was one of like a researcher into Horizon or the Syndicate stuff. You know, you speedrun the game enough and that stuff kind of goes out the window, but yeah.
There's a little fuzzy.
Just remember the big plot points. So once we hit interact on this helmet, it's going to start downloading. We can't leave this area, otherwise it like pauses. So just got to wait for this very slow download. You know, we got US internet, unfortunately. Taking forever here. But we're going to have 3 waves of enemies, one from this side, one from the opposite side, and then back to this door again. Once again, I need to wait for them to actually like leave the gated area, because if they just stay back in the tunnel, it makes them hard to kill. So we're just going to wait for them to pop up. So we're just going to kill these guys, run to the other side, kill those, run back over here, and then it's flesh golem time. Once we get an autosave, they're going to start popping out. Enemies can like survive these explosives and oftentimes will, unfortunately. So you have to kind of make sure that they're actually dead before you move on. Don't want any stragglers. Okay. Wait, 5. Some extra grenades. Now we need to wait for the flesh golem to pop out. So like the Mothman, we're just going to get down to 2 shots. This will not actually 2-shot the flesh golem. It's going to take 4 shots, but normally the old way is to hit him with 8 shots, just going from, you know, a full magazine down. But I always like to point out these like water fountains on the side because they just look like a giant frog mouth with like a Pope hat on them. And once I saw it, I could never unsee it. So pay our respects.
I'm not gonna lie, I never noticed that there was anything lining this hallway. And now I'm never gonna unsee that again. So thank you.
Yeah, it's the Hall of the Pope Frogs. So there's gonna be a very spooky square running towards us. That's the flesh golem. So once again, we just have no shells in our shotgun, so it does more damage. It's gonna explode. Whoop.
So wait, if you have no shell, like you 0 ammo in your shotgun, and you just like load one in and shoot it, that does more damage?
Yes.
Bruh.
Yeah, as long as you have 2 or less. So you have 1 or 2. It does more damage.
This game's weird like that, because focus does extra damage too, right? I mean, that makes a little bit more sense, but...
Yeah, and this is the Patriarch here. He's the big bad of this level, kind of indicating there that he is another subject, saying, hey, it's a brother like me. And he also mentions that he's like killed other subjects before, so they've been sent to kill him, and he's survived. Like he's a low 90, so he's been around for a little bit. But now we go back to the courtyard, so we're gonna go try to make our way to the Patriarch. Get some more grenade launcher ammo right there on the floor, and then we're picking up this serum that we don't actually need in the run. The dual wielding serum. It looks kind of goofy. You have to inject this so that you can actually hold 2 guns at the same time. We never need to do that because we have the shotgun, which we could pick up a second one. It's just not worth the time investment. But sadly, to open the store, you have to have that. There is a case for dual grenade launchers because, as we were talking about before, some of the really crazy skips in this game, you can actually jump kick off of grenades that you shoot, and having 2 grenade launchers lets you kind of have a faster fire rate, just more ammo in general. So
and yes, yeah. You did hear that right, by the way. You can kick off of the grenades that you shoot out of the grenade launcher. Let me just let's dwell on that for a moment.
So a lot of this fighting, I'm just going to use the grenade launcher and kind of stand towards the middle. Because I'm too lazy to run around. And if I leave some stragglers, hopefully the snipers up top will actually take care of them for me. They don't always, but a lot of times they'll pick them off.
Yeah, I've tried the grenade launcher kicks, and I just could not get them.
So now we're going to swap out the grenade launcher for the bolt gun once again, because we need to swap this once we get down to the basement. There's a weapon mod upgrade that we can get. All the guns have different weapon mods that you can get to make them a little bit different, fit your playstyle. We don't tend to mess around with them, but the bolt gun has one that changes it from the explosive shots to a penetrator mode, which shoots like giant stakes. And that will allow us to kind of do a quick kill on the Patriarch, so just gotta ride this elevator. This elevator is really glitchy. Stuff will just float in midair. Sometimes enemies will fall down here. Yeah, it's... So it's a weird place to be. But once again, you can just kind of run around, practice your jump kicks, just do all this.
It does make me curious, like how this elevator works behind the scenes and like what's causing that.
I almost feel like the entire level's rising up and not the elevator going down, but I can't prove that.
That'd be wild.
So we just have a little like hallway section that we need to get through in order to get to the actual fight itself, get the weapon mod. And then to apply that, we come over to this little thing. Now we get to run. This area is like a big winding set of stairs. So we're just going to use the jump kick to kind of skip running all the way around. Trying to kick off of a pillar is a little bit tricky. You have to have the timing just right, but luckily it's pretty safe because we're just over ground and not over the void. That was like third try. Not too great, but
nice.
Still save some time. So coming up is like the one time in the run where cloak is actually useful. Because there's 3 sets of lasers that if you cloak through, they don't actually explode, but you run out of cloak basically by the time you get to the 3rd set, and they're not usually going to kill you. Every now and then they will, for whatever reason. They just do extra damage, and you'll just get one shot, basically. But this is the Patriarch fight. We need to put about 6 bolts into his head, which if you look at the damage on the top of the screen is going to be about half his health, and that's just going to instantly phase him. Instead of going through all 3.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's because there's 3 phases, but we only actually do 2 of them, right? Because you do so much damage.
We're gonna 3 bolts, and we get 1 wave. I like to use nades here. You can actually see he spawned in a little bit. I just will kind of wait for him to stand back up so I don't miss, and that's the boss fight. Back to the safe house we go. We get a load in. Site 83. It's where the game gets a little spooky.
A little bit.
Yeah, so like the old Fear games have a lot of horror built into them just as you go. Get a little FPS, little horror. This game kind of does it all in one go. I'm not the biggest fan of, but we've got some time to talk about it.
Yeah, I wish there was some more horror elements in this game. It's really just, I mean, it's Site 83, and then there's like 1 side mission, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, so we're immediately going to get thrown into the action. There's no intro cutscene for this one at all. Coming as a friendly NPCs just because they're in my way, and we got to do the big skip with this level.
Yeah, so this is called Lift Skip, and there's also an extended version of this called Backroom Skip, and there's also technically an even further extended version of that where you just skip the entire level by doing like 8 grenade launcher kicks off of the top of the map and then landing in like the end level trigger or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it makes the IL a minute long, whereas a fast way of doing this is about 7 minutes or so. So it's really big. But as someone who spent some time trying to learn it the other night and backroom skip, I gave up trying to learn both. I didn't even get them once. So I was like, you know what? Maybe these will just not be part of the run. To get back in bounds here, we're going to actually summon in this spooky PNG overlay. It's going to come attack us. And that means we like failed this area and it caught us, so we get warped back in bounds, which is pretty cool.
Nice. And yeah, we get the gas mask taken off here, which is really good. The gas mask actually restricts your movement down, I don't remember the numbers, but anyway, it's like, 10% or 15% less movement speed, which, obviously we want. And especially during, like, if you decide to do backroom skip or lift, or sorry, I don't know if there's actually a name for like the full level skip.
It's called the good luck skip. It was originally called the GL skip for grenade launcher, and people were like, oh, GL, good luck, and it just makes sense. Yeah, you need luck for it, so.
Yeah, good luck, dude. Yeah, anyway, so having the gas mask on your face makes those skips unnecessarily difficult because your movement speed is restricted. Because your slide speed gets converted into your like kick speed, which changes into height and distance. So, yeah, gas mask no good.
Yeah. So here we have not really a subject. It's called Object 83. That is going to teleport us into something that might look familiar. The back rooms. It is actually called the back rooms, and it's just a lot of movement.
In my casual playthrough when I played this. Honestly, Site 83 I think is my favorite level. despite the PNG.
I never really got on board with the whole backrooms when it kind of popped off a few months ago, and seeing this, I was like, oh, you're kind of doing like a fun Easter egg. And then it started popping up in like every other game, like Remnant 2 has a backrooms Easter egg, and I'm like, all right, maybe this has gone a little too far, but yeah, we're gonna go in and out of the backrooms. It's just a lot of movement, basically. There's some enemies here and there, but Sarah is really gonna test your ability to preserve stamina and momentum and just get through it really, really fast.
I still have never figured out like who this Vox voice is. Like if it's the object or if it's some kind of hallucination. Oh yeah, this is called elevator skip, not to be confused with lift skip. Yes, we recognize the issues there. But yeah, basically we can just do a couple of kicks, which skips flipping a lever down, saves like 30 seconds.
Yeah, so there's also a way I was trying to do. You saw me pause the game. When you pause the game, it will just remove all momentum you have. And if you hold forward with coming out of that, a lot of times you can just land right on top of the second gate. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, so we had to do some more jump kicks. But you know, at this point, jump kicks are pretty easy for me to pull off, so it's not too big of a deal. Back into the back rooms. This is a spot where we don't have a lot of height, so we can't do any jump slides. Just got to do those slide cancel spams. But as you go, you kind of just like learn where to apply these different movement mechanics. And we are.
So yeah, with all these like skips and stuff, you might be thinking, wow, like this is like, but the casual game is actually in about 4 hours or so. It's pretty comfortable if you want to do it in like an afternoon or two.
Yeah, even the like restricted category, which is basically you can jump kick and do all the movement stuff, you just can't leave the map, you can't go out of bounds. It's now under an hour, so it's not too long of a category if that's more your speed as well.
Yeah, it blows my mind that the difference really only comes down to about, I mean, quote unquote, only about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so here's like the boss fight. It's just a whole bunch of wave fights. It's not like super interesting. There's some thing. So I'm just going to use grenades to take care of the enemies. If any survive, I'm just going to use my shotgun. Let's go ahead and clean things up. So we have to take care of an elevator, and then we got to wait around for a little bit for this like white lightning ethereal stuff to open up where these spooky shadow people are. We're guarding 3 different fuse boxes around the area for whatever reason. And you see like a health bar on top of the screen. That will never go down. It goes from being full to the level being over. So I gotta flip this. But this big thing in the middle is the Subject 83. It's the thing that was causing us to teleport in and out of the back rooms.
Yeah, which is definitely like heavy SCP influence. And yeah, for those of you who are asking, like SCP is kind of like a community written universe. It stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. Super cool. Look into it. This isn't actually like referencing it, but it's kind of, you know, hinting at it a little bit.
Yeah, if you've ever played the game Control or seen it, that deals a lot with like SCP kind of phenomenons as well. That's our second fuse box, circuit breaker, and then one more fight. Okay, this last set of shadow people, it's not really any sort of speed tech, but one thing you can do is you can actually jump kick on top of them and then just wait to fall down.
I didn't. I mean, yeah, that saves like probably a second or two each time you do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit closer because you're just instantly going to drop on top of this. And then we get to go fire the laser. And then you get to see one really interesting thing about the way that we've done this level once we are past this point. Because we did that big out of bounds at the start of the game, we didn't ever hit the part that deloads that first part of the game. So what you're going to see off in the distance, it might look a little weird, but that is the first elevator that we skip.
The wonder of real-time rendered cutscenes. Am I right?
So to put in perspective, like the grenade launcher, good luck skip, you kind of need to like hit where we're standing now from up there. This is basically where the trigger is, and it's very small and invisible. So you have to know where you're going and then get tons and tons of momentum to be able to skip that, which is why no one does it. But maybe one day. All right, so that was mission 4. One more safe house visit, and then we're on to Horizon HQ, which I would say is by far the hardest level of the game. It's got some pretty crazy skips to it. But one of the best songs, one of the best musical tracks in the game, like by far. I know some runners play with the music off for whatever reason. I don't get that choice.
That's a shame.
I like boost it. It's like as loud as it can go.
Oh yeah, mine's at 100. As soon as I heard the soundtrack in this game, it was at 100. Sound effects 75, music 100, always.
So Horizon HQ is another one that just throws you in here, and it starts you off with no focus, so we have to do normal slide hops again. Unfortunately, and then we're immediately going to start breaking the game.
It's actually possible to get out of bounds, like from the very, very start through one of the fan holes, but you can't like navigate through the out of bounds area easily. So you just go a little bit further, and then you can get to this spot instead.
Once we actually get like a little bit higher in this out of bounds, we will hit an autosave, so we don't have to go back to the start of the level here. But it's got some tricky jumps that you have to do.
Something that's kind of interesting is like there's a bunch of autosave triggers that are just in random spots out of bounds. I don't know if the developers put them there on purpose or just like left them there from testing or what, but yeah, they're in very convenient places, actually.
All right, we got that one first try. That's the one I'm always scared about.
Nice, yeah.
Because kicking walls can be a little scary. Yeah. Kicking a wall over the void with a lot of height requirements, and then we need to get a part that's going to load in the next section. But once again, all of these triggers are invisible, and they're relatively small as well. They're not big, giant planes. They're like little cubes. Okay, second try.
Nice.
So that's the first of like 3 skips that we have to do here. The second one's not too bad. We're going to approach it here, the lobby skip. And then we have one of my favorite tricks to show off. It is so much fun, but it is a pain to learn. Once we're coming up here, we're going to put down a breach charge, and while we have some time waiting for it to detonate, we're going to pick up a minigun instead of this bolt gun, which is going to allow us to deal with the boss of this level in a very fun way.
Nice. That is so much better spawn than the other one in like the lobby room. That is huge.
Yeah, and you basically get it with like no downtime at all, too.
I'm learning so much. I definitely need to come back to this game. I've taken like a 2-week break from it, which means I'm probably gonna have to relearn pretty much everything. You know, whatever.
So the mantling in this game is usually pretty generous in terms of what you can grab and like from how far away. Every now and then though, it's pretty strict, and you have to be like right on top of something for it to work. Some things you just can't mantle either. We need to hit a very, very specific spot here.
Dude, this trigger is so tiny. It's like the size of a mug, I swear. Nice, good job.
Okay, so this elevator's actually a cutscene, so we can skip it. And then we're on to the final skip of this level that I just love to do. You get a great soundtrack, a lot of crazy jump kicks, people yelling at you. It's great.
Yeah, so this skip was also found by Murphy, who found a lot of the skips in this game. Shout out Murphy, aka Dylan. And it's called Galaxy Brain. And I won't explain why quite yet. Bit of a spoiler, but it's a funny name, trust me. This is potentially my favorite out of bounds section. Really cool.
All right. First try everything, thank you.
You have to stick a bit to the right on this section that BT just went past. I kind of forget why, but you can hit a trigger on the left that will totally screw you over.
Yeah, it loads in the final part of the game, but you get stuck out of bounds. So we hit a trigger that lets us just load into the final part, and this is the final boss over here of this level, not of the game, I should say. Normally you have to go through this big fight sequence of shooting brains in jars, and like a helicopter shows up with another brain in a jar. But it's just sitting over there, and you can just blast it with the minigun, and it's done. Even the restricted category, which doesn't go out of bounds, can still do a version of that. You can like jump up on top of like a window and see a different version of the helicopter. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
It was a pretty recent discovery, but we just took out the Horizon CEO, who was also another subject. He was like a high 70 or something. So he's definitely been around for a long time. And now that we've kind of taken care of all the things that the Syndicate wants from us, they're going to be like, all right, your time as a subject is over. We're going to dispose of you and go into betrayal. But like every other subject, we kind of learned to break the cycle because Syndicate, as it turns out, is using these super soldiers to like do their bidding, and then they'll send one super soldier, like the next one in the cycle, to take care of them. So they're going to be sending 107 to take care of us, but we're not actually going to see 107 in this run. But another amazing musical drop here. It's like my second favorite. Very like Doom 2016 intro-esque. But they strip away all of our weapons, so we're left with just a pistol, no focus. And gonna run through. This is the safe house, just a different version of it. We have to wait for them to unlock the doors so we can go through. We're going to be doing a very, very big skip to finish off this game. Not only are there all of these triggers that load in the areas and autosaves and whatnot, there are also kill triggers in the game that normally these optional fights you run past, you hit a kill trigger and it kills them off so the game doesn't keep them loaded in and things get laggy. But if you happen to hit one of those out of bounds, or if you've loaded in a boss, so let's say Subject 107, the final boss of the game, and you hit one of those kill triggers, it will also kill that final boss. So
that's how it works.
We're just going to get out of bounds and go hit that. Unfortunately, it's also over the void, and it's pretty sketchy to hit. So if you miss it, there's no autosave. You have to do this entire level over again, and getting out of bounds is also not an easy chore.
I swear, this is like the hardest kick in the game.
Yeah, it is one of my least favorites to do.
Like twice. Okay, almost. Nice. All right, here we go.
And that's the end of the game. No big, flashy finish, but we've accomplished the mission. You can see 106 floating there. Up with a link to the Discord. So once again, if you want to learn this run or just take a look at it, mess around with some movement, I do have a brand new tutorial put out just a couple hours before this run. So it's the freshest stuff. I go over some alternative routes if you don't want to do that crazy kick at the end. There's an older, slower method. I go over all of that on my YouTube, youtube.com/bloodthunder. But thank you to Meta for joining me. Like, he was one of the ones that was helping to break this game initially and finding the stuff. So huge shout outs to him. I didn't really find any of these tricks. Kind of came along and cleaned things up a little bit.
Them.
Yeah, so we'd love to have you in the Discord if you want to learn any of the other categories, harder difficulties, restricted, whatever it may be. Do some IL attempts, go for those crazy strats. More than welcome to have you. Any more shout outs that we need to?
Yeah, I guess first of all, just shout outs to the general Trade community. Specifically, I'd like to thank Murphy, Mortar, and Bacon for basically finding the majority of the skips in this game. You guys are awesome. And this game would not be as fast or as fun as it is without you. So thank you very much. And yeah, if you want to come learn and run this game, it's pretty easy. We have a lot of resources, including the brand new tutorial made by Blunt Thunder just today. So yeah, come join us.
And shout outs to the devs for making this game as well. Hopefully they don't patch too much of our stuff, but yeah, they made a fantastic game to run, so huge shout outs to them as always. Everyone on the team, whether developer, programmer, audio, QA, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for making this. Yeah, that's Trepang 2.
Yeah. Thank you, Meta, for coming by to commentate, and BT for doing the sick run. Yeah, Blood Thunder runs a ton of games. All absolute bangers. Really, really good horror FPS genres usually. So if you're into that, definitely go check him out and check out the videos he's got and his streams. So that's it for AIMBOT for tonight. Not much else to say for me here. If you're watching this back on YouTube, make sure to subscribe for future videos coming out, and go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you want to see this live. And one last reminder right at the end, Games Done Quick is hiring. So if you have experience in social media creation and want to help out at live events, go to gamesdonequick.com/jobs to apply. So that's it. Like I said, for AIMBOT, stay tuned. In a little bit, we'll be coming up with Speedruns from the Crypt. We've got Punchy on Dino Crisis. BT's coming back for System Shock, and Icdices will be doing House of the Dead. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a little bit.